I never thought I'd be the kind of person who needed a personal trainer. I mean, I was doing fine on my own, or at least that's what I told myself every time I half-heartedly showed up at the gym, did some random exercises I'd seen on Instagram, and left feeling vaguely disappointed in myself. But after my 30th birthday hit me like a freight train, I decided it was time to actually commit to something. So I signed up for training sessions at the gym near my apartment, filled out the intake form and tried not to think too hard about the money I was about to spend. The gym assigned me to Callahan. That's what everyone called him, just Callahan, like he only needed one name. When I first saw him waiting for me by the squat rack, I thought there'd been some kind of mistake. He was probably 6'2", with dark hair that fell just slightly too long over his forehead, and these incredibly warm brown eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. He wore a simple black t-shirt and grey athletic pants, but somehow he made it look like he'd walked off a magazine cover. I, on the other hand, showed up in an old college t-shirt with a faded logo and shorts I'd owned since 2015. "Hey, you must be Marcus," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Callahan. Ready to get started?" His handshake was firm and warm, and I held on maybe a second too long before letting go. Yeah, definitely ready. I tried to sound confident, but my voice came out a little higher than normal. Those first few sessions were brutal. Not because Callahan pushed me too hard, but because I was suddenly hyper-aware of every single thing my body was doing. He'd stand close to correct my form, his hand on my shoulder or lower back, and I'd completely lose track of whatever exercise I was supposed to be doing. He smelled like cedar and something clean, maybe his laundry detergent, and I found myself taking these little mental snapshots of moments, the way his forearms flexed when he demonstrated a movement, the small scar above his left eyebrow, the sound of his laugh when I made a stupid joke about how much I hated burpees. We were scheduled for hour-long sessions twice a week, but about a month in, I started noticing something. We'd finish what I thought was our planned workout, I'd check my watch expecting to see that our time was up, and Callahan would say something like, "Let's do one more circuit, or I want to show you this new core series I've been working on." The first few times I figured he was just being thorough, but then it kept happening. Every single session ran over by at least 20, sometimes 30 minutes. I kept waiting for the gym to send me an adjusted bill. I'd check my credit card statement obsessively, convinced I'd see the extra charges appear. But they never did. After the third session that ran long, I finally said something. "Hey, I think your clock might be broken," I said, trying to sound casual as I wiped sweat from my face. "We've gone over by like half an hour." Callahan was putting away the resistance bands we'd been using. He glanced at his watch, then back at me with this easy smile. "Yeah, I know, don't worry about it." "But shouldn't I be paying for the extra time?" He shrugged, and there was something in his expression I couldn't quite read. "You're not taking time away from another client. Consider it a bonus for actually showing up consistently. Most people quit after 3 sessions. I wanted to argue, to insist on paying, but something in the way he looked at me made the words stick in my throat. Instead, I just said thank you, and he nodded, and we moved on to cool down stretches. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. Why would he do that? Personal trainers made their living by the hour. Giving away free time didn't make financial sense, especially not consistently, for every single session. I started paying closer attention to how he interacted with other clients at the gym. He was friendly and professional with everyone, encouraging and patient, but I never saw him run over time with anyone else. He'd wrap up their sessions right at the hour mark, say goodbye, and move on to his next appointment or his own workout. It was just me. He only extended sessions with me. The realization made my stomach flip in this nervous, excited way that I tried very hard to ignore. I'd been ignoring a lot of things lately, like the fact that I looked forward to our training sessions more than anything else in my week, or that I'd started putting actual effort into what I wore to the gym, making sure my hair looked decent, wearing the one pair of athletic shorts that I knew fit me well, or that I'd catch myself staring at his hands when he demonstrated an exercise, wondering what they'd feel like in context that had nothing to do with fitness. I'd known I was attracted to men for years, but I'd never really done anything about it. A few awkward dates in college, one brief thing with a guy from work that fizzled out before it really started, and a lot of nights scrolling through dating apps without ever actually messaging anyone. I was good at wanting from a distance, at keeping everything theoretical and safe. But with Callahan, the wanting felt different, more urgent, more real. During one session, about 2 months in, we were doing assisted pull-ups. I was struggling, my arms shaking, and Callahan moved behind me, his hands on my waist to help support my weight. "Do you feel that?" he said, his voice close to my ear. "You're engaging your core now. That's perfect." I couldn't speak. I could barely breathe. All I could feel was the warmth of his hands through my shirt, the solid presence of him behind me, the way his breath stirred my hair. When he finally let go and stepped back, I had to take a moment before I could turn around, afraid my face would give away everything I was feeling. "You good?" he asked. And there was something in his voice, a softness that hadn't been there before. "Yeah," I managed, "just tired." But he was looking at me in this intent way, like he was trying to figure something out and I had to look away first. The sessions kept running long, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Once, almost 45 minutes over, Callahan would find reasons to keep us there. An extra set of exercises, a longer cool down, a conversation about nutritional recovery that would stretch and stretch until we were the last people in that section of the gym, the overhead lights seeming dimmer, the space feeling more intimate. We talked about everything during those extended sessions. He told me about growing up in Oregon, about his younger sister who was in medical school, about the knee injury that had ended his brief semi-pro soccer career and led him to personal training. I told him about my job in marketing, about my best friend's upcoming wedding where I was supposed to give a speech and was terrified, about my mom who called every Sunday and always asked if I was dating anyone. "Are you?" Callahan asked. "Dating anyone?" We were sitting on the gym floor, supposedly stretching our hamstrings but mostly just talking. The question caught me off guard. "No," I said. I haven't been doing the dating thing lately." "Why not?" I stretched forward, focusing on my toes instead of his face. "I don't know. I guess I'm waiting to meet someone who makes it feel worth the effort." What would make it worth the effort? I looked up at him then. He was watching me with those warm brown eyes, his expression open and genuinely curious. "Meeting someone who actually wants to spend time with me," I said. "Someone who goes out of their way to be around me. Someone who makes me feel like I matter." Something shifted in his expression. "You matter, Marcus." The way he said my name made my heart do this painful, hopeful thing in my chest. I had to look away again. After that conversation, I started letting myself hope. Maybe I was reading too much into things. Maybe the extended sessions really were just Callahan being a generous trainer. But there were these moments that felt like more. The way his hand would linger on my shoulder when he was correcting my form. The way he'd smile at me when I walked into the gym. This genuine, bright smile that felt like it was just for me. The way he'd find excuses to touch me. Small, casual contacts that probably meant nothing but felt like everything. One evening, after a particularly intense leg workout, we were both sitting on the floor against the wall, supposedly resting before the cool down. My legs felt like jelly. Callahan had pushed me harder than usual, and I was pretty sure I wouldn't be able to walk properly for the next 3 days. "I'm going to die," I said dramatically. "This is how I go. Death by lunges." Callahan laughed, and the sound made me smile despite the burning in my quads. "You're being dramatic. You did great today. I can't feel my legs. That means it worked. I think it means I need a new trainer, one who doesn't enjoy torturing people." He turned to look at me, and we were close, closer than I'd realized. I could see the exact color of his eyes, brown with these little flecks of amber. Would you actually want a new trainer? The question was simple, but the way he asked it wasn't. There was weight behind it, something vulnerable and uncertain that I'd never heard in his voice before. "No," I said quietly. "I wouldn't." "Why not?" My heart was pounding harder than it had during any workout. "Because I like training with you. I like being around you. I like being around you too," he said. "That's why I keep extending our sessions. I don't want them to end." We sat there, looking at each other, and I felt like I was standing on the edge of something huge and terrifying and wonderful. The gym was nearly empty. Somewhere in the distance I could hear weights clanking and a treadmill humming, but in our little corner it felt like we were completely alone. "Callahan," I started, not sure what I was going to say, just knowing I needed to say something. "Can I be honest with you?" he interrupted. "I've been wanting to say something for weeks now, but I wasn't sure if I was reading things right. I don't usually do this. I don't extend sessions for clients. I don't blur professional lines. But with you, I can't seem to help it." My mouth went dry. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that I look forward to our sessions more than anything else in my week. I'm saying that I give you free time because I want to spend more time with you, and I can't figure out how to do that without the excuse of training. I'm saying that I think about you when you're not here." He paused, took a breath. "I'm saying that I'm attracted to you, Marcus, and I have been for a while now, and if I'm completely misreading this situation, please tell me now so I can go die of embarrassment." "You're not misreading it," I said, and my voice came out barely above a whisper. "You're really not misreading it." The smile that spread across his face was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. "Yeah? Yeah. I've been hoping you'd say something like this. I've been hoping I wasn't imagining the way you look at me sometimes. You're not imagining it." He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away, and brushed his fingers against mine. "Is this okay?" "Yes," I said. "More than okay. More." We sat there holding hands on the gym floor like teenagers, and I felt this overwhelming rush of happiness mixed with relief, mixed with nervousness. Callahan's hand was warm and calloused, his grip gentle but sure. "So what now?" I asked. "Now we should probably finish stretching before your muscles seize up completely," he said, and I laughed. "But after that, maybe I could take you to dinner, like an actual date, not a professional obligation. I'd really like that." We did finish stretching, though I barely paid attention to what muscles we were working on. My entire focus was on the fact that Callahan kept finding reasons to touch me. His hand on my back, his fingers adjusting my position, each contact feeling charged with new meaning now that everything was out in the open. As we were gathering our things to leave, he said, "I should probably tell you that I've been driving myself crazy trying to figure out how to ask you out. I must have started and deleted a dozen text messages. You have my number for training updates and you were going to text me?" I was considering it, or I thought about asking if you wanted to grab a protein shake after a session, but that felt too casual. Or I was going to recommend this new gym that opened across town and offer to check it out with you, but that seemed like a weird excuse to spend time together. "I'm glad you just told me the truth," I said. "Me too. Though I was terrified you'd think I was being unprofessional or crossing a line. I mean, technically you are crossing a line. Is that a problem?" I smiled at him, not even a little bit. Our first date was at this small Italian restaurant near the waterfront. Callahan picked me up from my apartment, and when I opened the door he was standing there in dark jeans and a button-down shirt, with the sleeves rolled up, holding a small bouquet of sunflowers. "You mentioned once that your mum grows sunflowers in her garden," he said, looking almost shy. I remembered. I took the flowers, touched beyond words. "You remembered that?" "I remember everything you tell me. The dinner was perfect. We talked for hours, the conversation flowing as easily as it did during our training sessions, but without the pretense of discussing fitness goals or workout plans. He told me about the first time he realized he was attracted to men, a story involving his college roommate and a lot of confusion. I told him about my own journey of self-acceptance, the years of keeping everything quiet, the fear of disappointing my family. "Your family knows?" he asked. "My mum does. My dad died when I was young, so it's mostly just her. I told her a few years ago, and she was amazing about it. She keeps asking when I'm going to bring someone home to meet her. And what do you tell her? That I'm waiting to meet the right person." Callahan reached across the table and took my hand. "Have you met him?" "I think maybe I have. We started dating officially after that, though we kept it quiet at the gym. Callahan was worried about how it might look to his boss and other clients if they knew he was seeing someone he trained. So at the gym, we maintained a professional relationship, trainer and client, nothing more. But the session still ran long, and now I knew exactly why. Outside the gym, we fell into a relationship that felt both exciting and comfortable. We'd have dinner at each other's apartments. We'd go for walks along the waterfront. We'd stay up late talking about everything and nothing. He introduced me to his sister over video chat, and she immediately started teasing him about how much he'd been talking about me. I told my mum about him during one of our Sunday calls, and I could hear the smile in her voice when she said she couldn't wait to meet him. The first time he kissed me, we were at his apartment, sitting on his couch after watching a movie. The credits were rolling, and we were talking about the ending, and then we weren't talking anymore. He leaned in slowly, his hand coming up to cut my face, giving me every opportunity to pull away. I didn't pull away. When his lips met mine, gentle and sure, I felt like every moment of my life had been leading to this. The kiss was perfect, soft and sweet and full of promise. "Is this okay?" he whispered against my lips. Don't stop, I whispered back. 3 months into our relationship, I finally told him something I'd been thinking for weeks. You know what I realised? I said. We were in my apartment cooking dinner together, and he was chopping vegetables while I stirred sauce on the stove. What's that? That first day we met, when you shook my hand I held on too long. I was so worried you noticed. He looked up from the cutting board, grinning. I noticed. I thought it was endearing. You did not. I absolutely did. I also noticed that you always showed up to training sessions 5 minutes early, and would just kind of hover around the water fountain waiting for me. I was not hovering. I was hydrating. You were hovering. It was cute. I abandoned the sauce to walk over to him. So you're saying you were into me from the beginning? He set down the knife and pulled me close. From the very beginning. Why do you think I kept extending our sessions? I couldn't get enough of being around you. I could have been paying for those extra 30 minutes this whole time. Would you have wanted to? No, I said honestly. I like that you wanted to spend time with me enough to give it for free. Best investment I ever made, he said, and kissed me. We eventually had to tell the gym about our relationship. Callahan's boss was surprisingly cool about it, though he did assign me to a different trainer for the sake of professional boundaries. I was sad to lose Callahan as my trainer, but gaining him as my boyfriend felt like the better deal. My new trainer was perfectly fine, competent and encouraging, but the sessions ended right on time, and I found myself missing those extended hours with Callahan more than I expected. But we still went to the gym together sometimes, working out side by side, and Callahan would still give me tips on my form or suggest new exercises to try. The difference was that now, when we were done, we'd leave together, his hand in mine, and head home to the life we were building. Looking back, I think about how close I came to never signing up for training at all, how I almost talked myself out of it, convinced I could do it on my own. How different my life would be if I hadn't filled out that intake form, if the gym had assigned me to someone else, if I'd been too scared or oblivious to recognise what was happening between us. But I did sign up. I got assigned to Callahan, and he extended our sessions by 30 minutes, never charged extra, and in doing so gave me something infinitely more valuable than fitness training. He gave me a chance at love, at happiness, at a future I hadn't even known I was looking for. Now, a year later, I have a drawer at his apartment and he has one at mine. We're talking about getting a place together. My mum has met him 3 times, and already considers him part of the family. His sister sends me memes and inside jokes like I've known her for years. We still work out together, we still talk for hours, and sometimes when we're sitting together in comfortable silence, I catch him looking at me with those warm brown eyes, and I know exactly what he's thinking. He's thinking the same thing I am, that sometimes the best things in life come from taking a chance, from showing up, from letting someone extend your time together, 30 minutes at a time, until those minutes turn into a lifetime.